everyone. I hope you're hanging in there. Today we're going to walk through lessons 97 to 100. So let's get started. This week you're going to need your lesson manual, the student worksheet book, the math card games manual with the game cards. You will need the plastic coins and the cash box that you made from last week. You will need the dry erase board and a geared clock. This week, your child will continue to learn about money and coin usage. They will also work through some money word problems as well. So let's get started by turning to lesson 97. Now, the first paragraph of the warm-up is actually going to have your child work through problems 3 and 4 on practice sheet 1. Now, remember, the practice sheets are found in the back of the student worksheet book right after those journal pages. The second paragraph in the warm-up is going to have your child solve a money word problem that was similar to the problems they solved in lesson 96. The third paragraph is going to be asking questions about how to get change back, how to calculate the change they're getting back after a transaction takes place. The next two paragraphs are going to have your child count by 5s and 10s. And then that final paragraph is going to have your child review fractions. Now, that's a lot of parts to this. So remember, for the warm-up, you're only going to want to spend about 5 to 7 minutes on that section. If it is taking longer, then pick and choose which sections you want to work on. And then you can either cut out the rest of them. If you know your kids know it, then no worries, just skip those sections, or finish the rest of the sections after the lesson. We don't want to mentally wear down our kids. Now take a look at the section called Ways to Make 30 cents. You're going to start by giving your child all of the coins, and then you're going to ask them to find 2 coins that will total 30 cents, which is a quarter and a nickel. They are then going to write an equation showing that. So they're going to write down 30 equals 25 plus 5, or 25 plus 5 equals 30. That equation is shown in the lesson manual. Then you're going to have your child find a way to make 30 cents using 3 coins, which would be 3 dimes. And again, they're going to write out the equation. They're going to continue on finding 30 cents using 4 coins, 5 coins, 6 coins, 8 coins, 9 coins, and 10 coins. And they're also going to write equations for each of these options. Notice there is not a way to make 30 cents using 7 coins. So you're going to skip that number. Now, some of those are going to be a little bit more difficult to solve than others. And so then you can temporarily skip one and then come back to it later. For example, if your child is struggling with putting coins together that will total 8 coins that total 30 cents, skip that one, jump to maybe 10 coins, 9 coins, and then come back to the 8 later on. Now, on the top of the second page of the lesson is a list of all of those remaining equations. So the bottom of the first page of the lesson and the top of the second page list all of those equations. You're also going to want to, if your child can, encourage them to use multiplication when they're writing out these problems. So for example, if you look at the top of the second page of the lesson, it shows you how to use multiplication for 8 coins. So it'll say 30 cents equals 2 dimes. So that'd be 10 times 2 plus 5 cents plus 5 different pennies, which would be 1 times 5. So have them write down, use multiplication as they're writing down their equations. Now, multiplication, all of the options there for multiplication equations is listed in the lesson manual. You will then give your child worksheet 63. And for this worksheet, they're going to find various ways to make a dollar using a specific number of coins. And in this activity, half dollars are included, but not pennies. Now, my kids found it helpful to actually use the coins and the abacus as they were working through this worksheet. Let your child work on this worksheet on their own for a while. See what they can do. And then if they start to struggle or get frustrated or they're struggling with a problem or two, then go ahead and give them the manipulatives, the coins, and then the abacus as needed. Then they can complete that worksheet. Try not to give too many hints too as your child is working through the worksheet. Wait until they've attempted it before you give them any assistance. There is not a math card game listed for this lesson, so you're going to want to pick a game that will help your child work on their struggles or practice their math facts to keep them strong. All right, well, let's go ahead and turn to lesson 98. Now, lesson 98 is going to have you use the cash box that you made in lesson 96, and that's what this was. It's a half of a sheet of paper, and then you drew a line half and then again in half. So if you've lost it or you threw it away, you can easily make another one. Also, for the warm-up, your child is going to do problems 5 and 6 from warm-up page 1, warm-up practice page number 1. Again, your child will only solve problems 5 and 6. For the next paragraph, your child is going to review coin values. The third paragraph is having your child review how to make change. The fourth and fifth paragraphs, your child is going to count by 5s and by 10s. Now take a look at the section called Problem 1. You're going to first start by getting out the cash box, and then you're going to put the coins in it based on the denominations. Then you're going to read the problem in the lesson manual several different times. Be an example for your child. Read through that problem several times. Let them know that you need to do that and your child needs to hear it so you can figure out how to solve the problem, what needs to be solved, and what it is that you're looking for in the problem. Start also by building part-whole circles. When you're ready to start solving the problem, start by building part-whole circles and have your child fill them in as you are rereading the word problem. Yet again, so you'll probably read through this problem 3, 4, maybe even 5 times. And then have your child fill in those part circles as they're coming up on those numbers. Now, if your child is struggling finding out what number goes where, ask questions such as, well, do you know the whole amount or the large amount or the total amount? And then, do you know any of the parts? Just as in lesson 96, you will help your child count up the change that they're going to need by using the abacus. The process of the counting up is on the top of the second page of the lesson. So you're going to start at 69. And remember, it's easy to calculate when we're on that whole number, that whole row. So we're going to want to add 1 to 69 to get to 70, right? And then if we go add another nickel, that will take us to 75, and we are left with 25, which is a quarter. Now, that's counting up. But when I taught my kids, they would actually calculate the quarter before that final nickel because they saw that big chunk of beads left. So they knew that they needed a big coin, and the big coin was the quarter. So they would actually start at the 69, go 1 to 70, then they would add the quarter, and then they knew they had the nickel left. Either way is fine. It's actually easier to view the nickel before the quarter, but if your child does it the other way, that's fine too. Most important though, is making sure that they get that first penny in there so they can see those other answers. You will then read another word problem under problem 2, under the section called problem 2. And again, have your child use part-whole circles, read through that problem several times, and then have your child show how to make the change by using the abacus and counting up using the abacus. The math card game for this lesson is Change from a Dollar Game or Change from a Dollar Solitaire. Now, there is not a blog for this specific game, but it is played just like the game Change from 50 cents. Then you will have your child complete worksheet 64. Now, these are problems calculating the change by counting up. Let your child use the abacus as needed. If your child struggled with any of the problems in the warm-up section, you also will want to add a math card game to strengthen up those areas as well. Go ahead and turn to lesson 99. For this lesson, your child is going to need the geared clock. Now, the first paragraph of the warm-up is having your child do problems 7 and 8 from their warm-up practice sheet 1 in their student worksheet manual. The second paragraph is having your child calculate change. And then the third paragraph, your child is reviewing the clock and telling time. Look at the section called Writing Whole Dollar Amounts. In this section, you will introduce the dollar sign and how to have your child practice using it by writing out various dollar amounts. Now, in that bottom section called Writing Dollars and Cents, in this section, you're actually going to have your child learn how to properly write amounts that include both dollars and cents. And it also introduces that decimal point. Your child will practice writing various amounts that include both dollars and cents. Now, one element that I really like in this section is where it compares how to write time with money for values less than 10. So minutes less than 10 and cents less than 10. The example as shown in the lesson manual is for telling time 3:02. Well, when you write the time 3:02, you write the 3, a colon, and then you have to write the 02. For money, if you have $3.02, you still need to have those 2 decimal places. So you write the 3.02, showing that you need 2 digits for time and 2 digits for money. It also shows the difference in punctuation. So for the time, you're going to have 2 digits after the colon, and then for money, 2 digits after the comma. Now, that is something that my kids tend to forget early on, remembering that they needed to have 2 digits in the coins for money. So if they had $3.02, you don't want to have your child put 3.2 because that stands for $3.20. Now, the lesson manual will have your child write several different dollars and cents values down. However, feel free to add more examples if your child needs more practice. Now, take a look at this section called Reading Dollar Amounts. In this section, you're going to write down different values and have your child read them to you. Just as a check, you might also want to write one of the values down incorrectly to see if your child can catch your error. For example, the second example it shows is $25.03. Maybe put down 25.3 and see if your child catches that. That's a good check for them. Then you're going to give your child worksheet 65. Notice if you're using the Canadian worksheets, the answers are listed in the explanation section, not in the lesson manual section. Again, there is not a math card game listed for this lesson, so you're going to want to pick a game that will keep up your child's math facts. All right, well, let's go ahead and turn to lesson 100. First of all, congratulations. You have completed or almost have completed 100 lessons. You may want to celebrate this with your child in some way, shape, or form. For the warm-up section, have your child do problems 9 and 10 from the practice worksheet 1. The second paragraph is going to have your child write a various money values. The third paragraph is going to have your child make change. And then you're going to give your child the worksheet 66. Now with this, you're going to work through some of these problems together in the lesson. You're going to start by asking your child to read through the word problem several different times. Point out to your child that this problem is actually asking 2 different questions. To solve the first problem, they're going to use their part-whole circles. Now notice for these part-whole circles, you're actually going to have 3 different parts as opposed to 2. So take a look at the bottom of the first page of the lesson. On the left side, you can see where it talks about the standard part-whole circle that has the whole circle and then the 2 parts. But for this particular problem, you're actually going to have the whole circle and 3 different parts. So introduce that to your child. Then you're going to have your child solve the problem, filling in those whole circles, solving that problem. Once that's done, have your child read through the entire word problem again. You're going to do that for 2 different reasons. First of all, they need to make sure that their answer makes sense for the first question of the word problem. Now, the other reason why you're wanting to do that is because your child will need to remember that there is a second question to this problem. Many times my kids would get so busy solving the first part of the problem, they would forget that there was an extra question at the end. So getting in a habit of having your child read through the word problem every time they get to a solution will help them double check to make sure they're solving it correctly and solving it thoroughly. Now take a look at the top of the second page of the lesson under the section called Problem 2. You will again have your child read through the problem several different times, fill in the part-whole circles to solve the first question in the word problem, have them read through that word problem again, figuring out what they need to do to solve the second word problem, and then double checking it, making sure it makes sense. Now, under the section called Problems 3 and 4, you're going to have your child solve these problems on their own if they can. If you have a struggling learner, you may need to help them a little bit by reading the problem to them, writing down some of their answers, or maybe even just asking questions to kind of help them think through that problem. Try not to give them answers as you go, as you're walking them through this problem or these problems, because you're wanting your child to grow mentally. So asking questions will still make your child think, but you're not solving it for them. Now, once your child solves those problems, discuss how they got their answers and then talk over any errors that they made. Take a look at the section Problems 5 through 8. And this section is where your child is going to add coin values together on their worksheet that's listed on the worksheet. They can use the abacus if they need to, but try to have them solve it on their own first without the abacus. There is not a math card game listed for this lesson, so you're going to want to pick a game that will focus on some of the struggles your child is experiencing or strengthening up your child's math facts. Well, that's it for the week. If you have any questions or concerns about a lesson, or if your child is struggling with something, give us a call or email us. We're here to help. I look forward to seeing you next week as we cover lessons 101 to 104. Have a great week, everybody.